So what about Theresa May, the human being? How does she cope with an extraordinary amount of stress? Sue Firth is a psychologist and specialist in helping CEOs and senior executives manage their stress. She's with me now. Hello, Sue.
Hello.
Just the person we need. So essentially, if we assume then that the Prime Minister is the CEO of UK PLC, she's under a lot of pressure right now. How do you think she's handling it from what you see?
Yeah. I would say genuinely that I think she's remarkably stoic, isn't she? I think she's definitely got the strength of her own conviction, and that won't just be coming from inside her own head. I think we have to accept the fact that she's got a lot of advisors, and many of them are extremely professional, very credible people who have a very long-standing track record of knowing what the best thing is to do here. So she's not just being advised on the policy and the process, but also how to handle herself. And I think that's quite critical. She's done a remarkable job, really, as a human being. So you don't have to necessarily like all of her politics, but I think you have to have respect for the woman.
But the schedule she's keeping up is tiring, I think, for anybody.
Yes.
Look at what happened yesterday. It was from when she got up in the morning. She should have got up to the news that Graham Brady had said that there's a no confidence vote in her. Then she had to react to that in Downing Street. And then she went through the day and met individual politicians and then the group and then went through the vote and then gave her reaction to that. And today she's on a plane to Brussels again. It's the relentless nature of this.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. It is particularly exhausting. The body's quite well equipped to take short-term, very quick, short exposures to extreme stress like this because you can respond quite well and you tend to get very focused with the adrenaline in your heart and mind, and it actually can be used in your favour. It heightens your performance up to a certain degree, but it also gets extremely exhausting. So what she'll be doing, I would guess, is taking snippets or short respites as she sits on a plane or as she, whatever it is, at some possibility. But if this is a short-term phase, she can ride through this, still look the part, which won't be a pretense, but it will be something she'll need to recover from. And then at some stage in the very near future, she'll need to get some rest, which I would guess will probably be over the Christmas period, as many of us are going to. In the gap in between, she's got 2 or 3 things, as many of us have. One is preferably and hopefully some sort of support. And you get that, we would get that, say, from friends and advisors and helpers and parents. She will get it from her husband, and her home will be the kind of respite from all of this that she needs, and like a mini sanctuary or retreat. And if we can all copy that up to a point, it gives us the kind of downtime that we all need. She's just not getting it very much at the moment.
When's she going to do her Christmas shopping? I mean, I've not started mine yet, and I don't have a very stressful job, I don't think.
No.
What about Carter Brighton on Twitter saying, look, she'll be all right, the poor love, unlike all the families having to rely on food banks. Now that's stressful. Is it a different way? It's exactly the same way. You're under extreme pressure to do the things you need to do for your family as opposed to for your country.
Yes, and I think that's to be respected too, enormously. Wherever we are in any situation where we don't have enough resources, and resources come under a very different number of descriptions, financial resources, but also our own home, our own family, whether or not we've got enough support, all of these resources get supremely tested. If we don't have enough, then we are trying to push very hard to achieve, a very large amount with a very small quantity. You have to do your best. It's all you can do. She is doing her best, and all the rest of us have to do what we can. But we're able to make up for it with something beautiful that we make. So if we're talking about a Christmas present, the thought counts. We go to the nth degree to find something that we really love to give. And it doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg, although I would say to some, Christmas is getting very commercial. From her point of view, she must be giving this job to someone else to do, because there's just no way she's got the time to go and buy herself, I'm sure. And everyone must understand that.
But that's what makes us human. That's what enables us to enjoy Christmas, getting into the nitty-gritty of, does that decoration look better there or in that corner of the room? And surely she'll no time to do that. So this is where, and I guess for a lot of people in work, they're supported by somebody at home. Philip Hammond, what's his role in this?
Well, I think he's going to be a pretty special person. I mean, I think you have to allow for the fact that he's been doing this for a while. He knows what she's like. He knows what... Every single one of us wears a facade of sorts, whether you call it your literally outdoor coat as you take it off and you come in and you become your real person. And being real is desperately important. Being yourself and allowing that to show through your vulnerabilities, your insecurities, your unhappinesses. And the poor woman must feel seriously challenged on all of those fronts right now. So I think to be with somebody with whom you don't have to try hard, you don't have to put that back on, is pretty critical, so that you can just, dare I use the word, relax.
Sue, while I've got you on, can you take me inside the head of a top CEO? Because, I mean, I suppose you could quite easily argue that if Theresa May was a sort of top leader, she could be earning way more than a British Prime Minister's salary in a FTSE 100 company. So she's kind of almost bumping along the bottom in terms of CEO pay. These, really big, successful CEOs, what do they have that the rest of us don't?
Well, you could argue that we assume that they've got it all, and actually they haven't. They have a phenomenal amount of accountability, as she does. They have a very big responsibility in which they have to live with the decisions that they make. This is why they tend to use their top team in order to get both input and also to check out their own thoughts. She will be doing the same thing. She has got the equipment and the skill as they have. The difference is that if they get something wrong, it will not have cataclysmic effects and they will be able to pick it up very quickly and correct it. Her problem, quite simply, is she can't do that fast enough and she can't do it without being challenged. And this has got its pros and its cons, and it then makes her feel less than supported. Mercifully, with most of the very big CEOs, they have got a top team who they have known for a very long time, and all these people like and support them and really like their policies. And it's all of that which gets tested at this time.
You would love to have a session with her today, wouldn't you?
Oh, bless her. Wouldn't I just? I mean, but I have to tell you genuinely, I obviously couldn't advise her on any of her political thoughts. I would simply be there as a source of support and tell her that I think she's very capable. She is a capable person and she is capable of withstanding this. Whether I like what she's thinking or whether I like what she's going to do or not is really by the by. She's still a human being and she does need some help at this time.
Several times during this conversation, Sue, Lord Sugar's come to mind, only because you say about that support network. So if you look at The Apprentice, you've got Lord Sugar there on his elevated chair, and then right by his side at all times, you've got Karen and you've got Claude. That's the sort of thing you're talking about, isn't it?
It is, very much so. There's what we call an executive team. Now, she will have that. It's just that what we see is her coming out on her own. She's not on her own. She will not be making decisions on her own, and she will not be making them without facts, support, and a lot of evidence. So she is the one who's having those inside conversations with the individuals who are critical in Europe, and she will know what they are and are not saying, and she is translating that into a policy and a process she's presenting back to us. Unfortunately, we're also not in the know amongst the Commons, and what she must be saying to them is either gelling or not gelling. And that's the reality of life. It's the same with all of us. It has to be a negotiation. The problem for the rest of us as people in the UK is that we are only seeing things like this, which is the pivotal, critical moments, and we're not necessarily very happy with them because it doesn't look like she's getting this through. And of course it matters to us, and wherever anything matters, it becomes desperately important that it goes well and that it goes right. And you know what? We might not have that. We might not have that ability right now. She's going to have to go back and negotiate, I would guess.
Fascinating to hear from you. Thanks, Sue, for your time this morning and your expertise.